Welcome to episode number 303 of the Marine Layer podcast. It's our American League Division Series preview. We have the Mariners' opponent. It'll be the Tigers and the Mariners for the first of 5 starting on Saturday. And we're going to break down all the storylines heading into the weekend.
A reminder to you guys, if you want to stay on top of everything we're doing, make sure to head right over to our website. That's marinelayerpod.com, where you can find all our episodes along with our merch, which we hope to see you go get. Patreon, live show schedules, it's all over there at marinelayerpod.com, and then follow us across social media everywhere. We're going to be active in the postseason, all on social media, at Marine Layer Pod.
Let's get it rolling.
The pitch from Acevedo. A drive deep to right field. Down the line. The Mariners win this game 2-1. The dream lives. They're going to the playoffs. 1-1 from Jansen. There you go. Left field. We got a tie ball game. Julio. Oh, baby, what a moment. Tie ball game at 7-7.
And we welcome you to this episode of the Marine Layer podcast, part of the Just Baseball Podcast Network, recording here on Thursday evening, October 2nd. I'm going to warn the people, at the beginning of this episode, you're going to get some pretty stark vibes from either side of the aisle in this podcast. Would you like to start, Lyle?
Where do you want to start? You're leading it in. You tell me.
Well, I want to start with the Mariners. There's only really one bit of Mariners information to note as we head into this series. I do want to spend a good amount of time on the Tigers, talking about the matchup with the Mariners and what to look for really in this series and whether or not we feel good. But the number one storyline, Lyle, is that Ichiro's coming out of retirement to play in the outfield in the ALDS.
Ha! Oh, so you're boycotting the playoffs.
I did make that promise.
That was
what should I do instead?
Well, that was back in 2018, long before this podcast ever kicked off into existence. But TJ once did do that. He boycotted games because Ichiro was playing back in 2018.
I will explain myself again if we've picked up some new listeners since that case. So Ichiro makes the roster in 2018, and they're playing him in a real role. He was the opening day left fielder, and they said there was a point in that season. They sent him up in a huge at-bat, bottom of the 9th inning, against a leverage reliever, and he struck out on a pitch like right down the middle. And I remember texting Lyle at this point. I said, you know what? I can't do it anymore. If they're not serious about winning, is what I said, I'm not watching. So I took the next 2 weeks off, didn't watch a single inning of Mariners baseball. After those two weeks were up, Ichiro, quote-unquote, retired until the first 2 games of the year before. The year after, I'd say. So it didn't work.
In Japan. Well,
in Japan.
Regardless, everybody listening, I need you to take this story and run with it as a headline. Marine Layer podcast host boycotts franchise icon.
It's not a good look for me. Why I bring that up is because Ichiro was starting in the outfield for the scrimmage on Wednesday.
That was amazing. That was awesome. Did you expect anything else?
I didn't. Like, if a team offered Ichiro a contract to play Major League Baseball today at age 51, he'd do it.
Would he be allowed to? He's already in the Hall of Fame.
Sure. Is there a rule that says you can't?
I don't know.
No one's ever tried that before. You have to retire for 5 years, get into the Hall of Fame, and then try and play again.
Oh, he'd be the first to do it, too.
Because most guys 5 years retired don't want to play.
Right.
Until Ichiro. I think he's the only one.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you listen to CC Sabathia talk, who was more than a deserved first ballot Hall of Famer, incredible career, super outgoing personality, but if you listen to him talk about the way he is now, and if he misses the game, he always says, not even a little bit. Not at all. I don't miss a single thing about the game. I love playing when I played, love my career, love my time as a Yankee and in Cleveland and Milwaukee, everywhere, but I don't want to go back for a single second. I miss none of it, is what he said.
Meanwhile, Ichiro shows up to the park probably early every morning to get his workout in full uniform.
Crazy. Look, I love Ichiro. I do. But I feel like we can only spend so much time on Ichiro in a moment in time where people are as geared up and as fired up for a postseason series as maybe ever. This may be the most...
We're breaking the ice.
We're breaking the ice a little bit, but I will say this is as anticipated a series as we've had by far since starting this podcast. This is a big weekend for everybody.
Before we actually get to the series, let's start with the biggest news on the Mariners side, not Ichiro. It's Bryan Woo. He threw a bullpen today, here on Thursday, prior to the scrimmage they had. He threw about 25 pitches, but he wasn't giving any clear indication that he's going to pitch in the first 3 games of this series. Everything was very vague from what he was saying. What was your first reaction when you heard what he had to say?
All you have to do is go follow us on social media at Marine Layer Pod and look at our post about it. Because if you want to know how I feel, I think it's fair to say, I don't think I'm out of line here, when I say I was calm, cool, objective, collected, and really did a stellar job filling the people in on what they needed to know about the latest on Bryan Woo with a pretty level head-on straight as we enter the weekend against Detroit. And if you've watched our post on social media, you know that it's absolute fucking bullshit and a lie. I dropped a massive F-bomb to start that thing. Not good, dude. Not good at all. Not good.
You need Bryan Woo to win a World Series. That part is 100% factual. But waiting until potentially Game 4 or Game 5 for Bryan Woo to pitch, I don't think is an end-of-world scenario for that. But before we actually get to this and all of our reasoning here, any details we might have missed. So I get 25 pitches today. Pete Woodworth stood in as the faux batter for 10 pitches of it. He was working in his off-speed pitches. He says he still needs to ramp up to game speed. The quote that he said after that got everyone going was he said, quote, "A week from now, hopefully we'll be in a better spot than where I'm at right now." My question leading off that quote is, how much more is he throwing between now and a week from now?
You know what my bigger question honestly is than that? And this is a tough thing because we have to try to read between the lines of what he said. But when Bryan Woo says a week, does he mean an exact week? Does he mean October the 9th? Or is he speaking in general terms where he means, okay, what I really meant was this upcoming Tuesday for Game 3, but it's 5 days, not 7. I don't know. Having to decipher his words isn't really fair because you can't pick up exactly what he meant from those quotes, from those words. But if he does mean a week, if he really means 7 days, that would mean at earliest he would be ready to go for Game 5, and I don't know if this series gets to a Game 5.
In a good way or a bad way?
I don't know. That's what has me nervous.
If it's in a good way, then who cares? Then he pitches in the ALCS.
Well, then that would be awesome, because if the Mariners end this thing in 3 to 4 games, they'll get some extra rest time. Bryan Woo will get some extra rest time. And hopefully by then, yes, he is ready and can definitively start 2 games in the ALCS. We're going to get to this more later, but the Mariners do have to go up against some guy named Skubal in this series. So they could use Bryan Woo.
I'm not going to discount that, but here's what I'm going to remind everybody when we go into the series without, as of right now, Bryan Woo. Your other pitchers, if you want to win a World Series, which is the goal right now, your other pitchers are going to need to perform well. So they can go out there and win this series without Bryan Woo. That is a very good sign for how this postseason might go. And if they go out there and they get shelled, and frankly, you need your best starting pitcher, unlike the Tigers who don't have any other pitchers. We'll get to that. But they need Tarik Skubal to go win a World Series. I'm hoping this Mariners team, despite Bryan Woo being their best starter, is deep enough where they don't necessarily need Bryan Woo to win a round of the playoffs. Is that fair?
It is. If I'm going to look at the other side of that coin, because I think it makes for some good discussion here, I agree with you. We know the Mariners, when they're at their best, that their rotation is as talented as anybody in baseball, as anybody in this postseason field. But to play devil's advocate, Luis struggled massively on the road this year and has struggled against lefties, and there's a couple of lefty mashers in this Tigers lineup. George Kirby has looked really good over his last few starts, like Luis has, but also struggled massively on the road this year. Logan Gilbert has struggled to work deep into games all of 2025, and part of that's because of an injury. And unfortunately, Bryce Miller, who, if Woo's not going to pitch, Bryce is going to be starting a game in this series. Bryce Miller, unfortunately, hasn't quite looked like peak Bryce Miller all year, and also because of an injury. Woo has been your model of consistency. He's been your stopper. He's been your innings eater. He's been the guy with the lowest ERA. He was your all-star. He's been everything. Look, if the Mariners were to lose, heaven forbid, George Kirby to a pec strain, to a minor pec strain, it wouldn't be good. But for the way everybody's pitched this year, you would be able to manage that more. This is the guy you cannot afford to lose. And now you very well may have lost him.
They can't lose him for 3 rounds of the playoffs. But if he has to miss the first 3 games, I again don't think that is the end of the world. I don't. I would rather him be healthy and ready to go at a point where you very much need him. Because, let's be frank, the Mariners should beat the Tigers in this series. Preview's over, guys. Mariners should beat the Tigers in this series. With or without Bryan Woo, they should beat him. Because that's just kind of how the talent lines up with how you are. I right now want Bryan Woo to get healthy. I know there are people, including yourself, who said, is this something he could just pitch through because it's the playoffs and everyone's hurting? I think he would be pitching through it if he could. I think so. Because there's probably some other things that don't feel right. I mean, maybe his arm hurts. Maybe he's sore all the time because it's just that time of year and he's got almost 200 innings on his right arm. Right?
Yeah, and when I ask that question, this is not me saying, because I have no information on this. I'm not a doctor. I'm not in those training rooms. I have no idea. And so this is not me saying, oh, get out there and pitch. I'm not saying that by any means. I was just simply asking earlier as a text back and forth between the two of us, thinking, is this the type of thing where you can manage it for a few more starts? But you're right. And yes, I asked the question, but if he's not going to go out there and pitch in this series, then the answer to that question is no, that he just does not physically feel well enough to get out there and give the team his best or even 80% of his best.
And I want him to be out there. Like, don't take anything I say about all the other starters needing to perform well as they don't need Bryan Woo. They do need Bryan Woo. You always need your best players. It's like if Cal wasn't available for the series, yeah, you kind of need Cal. It doesn't matter how deep the lineup is. You need him. But there are ways you can sell it by saying, like, if you're going to win the series anyways, you need good starts from Logan, you need good starts from George, you need good starts from Luis. Bryan Woo can only pitch, now in the playoffs, he can only start 25% of games at best. And that's if he goes the full 6 or 5 or 6 innings that he can go, let alone the shortened amount he's going to get coming off this injury. That's something you have to consider. Or famed quick hooks in the playoffs, as we've been seeing in this wild card round. We'll talk about the Tigers and their quick hooks. What if you only go 3 innings? That's not really a start. Then it turns into a bullpen game. So I don't know, like, the Mariners need a good collective staff pitching performance to win the World Series. Bryan Woo can only contribute so many of those innings. Madison Bumgarner performances don't just pop up. Like, I'm not expecting that to be what Bryan Woo's going to do this postseason.
No, but why can't he be some level of... I'll use Max Fried as an example. Why can't he go do what Max Fried did the other night, where you go 6 1/3 shutout? That'd be valuable. He's the guy that goes deep into games.
You know who else should probably do that? Logan Gilbert.
Yeah, and Kirby probably should too. But they have not been the model of consistency that Woo has. And
the Yankees don't have the luxury to have the other players that can go do that. Outside of tonight, Cam Schlittler tonight was unbelievable for the Yankees. He goes 8 innings. But the Yankees otherwise, like the rest of the rotation, if you ask them before the series, they weren't expecting their other starters to do that.
I know. But Woo's also been the one that's a model of consistency on the road, too, which even when we figured out he wasn't going to start game 1 of this series, we said to ourselves, okay, he's going to get pushed back a couple days. It's not the end of the world. He'll start game 3. In some ways, we're talking ourselves through it and say, you know what? That works out. Get your best road starter to pitch on the road and in a pitcher's park on the road. But now that may not even happen. Nothing's for certain yet because The actual official wording on this is his status for the ALDS is uncertain. But TJ and I are sitting here talking through this because of the fact that he threw a 25-pitch bullpen 5 days roughly before he'd make a start, which we thought would be in Game 3. If that's the case, a 5-pitch bullpen / stand-in hitters feels like a pretty big uphill climb to then all of a sudden 5 days later say you're throwing 100 to 110 pitches in a playoff game.
It just doesn't even feel likely he's pitching in the DS. How is he going to ramp up to start and throw, say, 80 pitches against live hitters by next Friday? That's 8 days from now.
Which is not good. That's why, again, I'd say I've calmed down a little bit now, but this afternoon I was spiraling a little bit. This is why we're like reality's setting in that he may not be a part of their ALDS, and I know you're supposed to beat the Tigers, but it's just as simple as I want the best pitcher on the team pitching. It's really that simple.
We've said it with the lineup, and I'll say it with the pitching staff. This is why you build depth, because you never know when you're going to need it, whether it be in August or in October. And they're going to need that depth to win.
I will say, I feel like if Woo's not going to be on the ALDS roster, I feel like we might see our guy Logan Evans on the ALDS roster. Because if Bryce is going to start, then you need a piggyback guy.
Exactly. That would be a pretty easy swap. The problem is they would have to put Logan on the ALDS roster by Saturday. They might just keep Woo on the roster because they can't add him back.
Well, that's going to be the tell. If they leave him off the roster, they're saying he is not healthy enough to pitch in these 5 games. Mm-hmm. If he's on the roster, that means that there's some optimism that he will.
Yeah.
And that he could go in Game 3 feels short at this point, but I guess you never know. 3, 4, maybe 5. That would be the key. But if you're more worried about the first 4 games than you are about a potential of Bryan Woo starting a Game 5, if it even gets to that point, feels like to me, in order, it's going to go, well, I guess in some fashion, Gilbert, Kirby, Castillo, Bryce Miller, and then Logan Evans is going to be the piggyback guy in the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
Be quite look, I'm not going to make this an entire Logan Evans episode. We've certainly done that in the past, which is fine, but I know for this, there is a big picture here, but I will say for Logan, that'd be pretty wild that if he was not only activated onto the playoff roster, but then he's pitching in the ballpark that he grew up a massive fan of, because he didn't get to pitch in Detroit in the Tigers series.
That'd be playoffs.
Yeah, in the playoffs against his childhood team. That'd be pretty wild.
That would be pretty crazy. But I'm going to hope for his sake, Lyle, they don't even have to play that game. So that'll be Game 4.
They're going to have to play one game in Detroit. You don't know when you're going to need a piggyback guy.
That's a fair point, but ideally you don't need one.
Yeah.
Ideally you do your 3 starters shove for 3 games in a row.
Well, that'd be great. If Woo is not going to pitch, you would assume Bryce Miller would be the last starter out of these 4. He'd go in Game 4. So who are you starting on the road? Is it Kirby? Do you take your chances with Kirby on the road just because Luis has really pitched well at home and he seems to be pretty comfortable there? And you trust Kirby to go deeper into a game at this point than Luis does?
That's how I would lean, especially because Kirby's stuff uptick can mitigate some road factors if he's on. So that would leave Gilbert Game 1, Castillo Game 2, Kirby Game 3, Bryce Game 4.
That's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm. And if some miracle Bryan Woo comes out with a Superman cape and pitches Game 5 back at T-Mobile Park, we'll blow the roof off.
Good. Shut him down for 8.
If you guys have any other ideas on the rotation, we've talked through this playoff rotation for like 2 months now. But if you have any more thoughts on it, you guys know what to do. Just leave us a comment. I'd be curious to know, but I feel like the only question is if Kirby starts at home or Castillo starts at home in Game 2. Otherwise, the other one's pitching Game 3 on the road. The other 2 bookend that rotation. And then your bullpen, it's all hands on deck every single day. Everyone's available every single day.
I think the big 4 are going to get a lot of work in the postseason. Yeah. I think you're going to see Munoz, Brash, Gabe Spire, and Edward Bizzardo used a lot.
And I hope it works out better than 2022 did when the Mariners used their leverage guys a lot, because the bullpen was so good in 2022, and then in the playoffs it was
Well, they ran out of gas.
I know.
Where now they're rested, so hopefully this helps.
I know. So we'll see.
You know what? Let's just make the stamp here right now.
No.
If the game is within 7 runs at any point, not just in this series but in the postseason, no Carlos Vargas. No. If the game's within 7 runs, he's not in the game.
At this rate, he's going to pitch in game 1.
No.
I also don't want him pitching in game 1 or game 2 or game 3. Maybe he could take the series off.
Well, maybe Dan listens to the pod and he'll take our advice. I doubt it.
Maybe. All right, I want to get to this preview of the Tigers for a second. There's a lot of really fun storylines for this. But before that, we have something really fun we want to tell you guys about from our friends over at Lids. There's an event happening at the Lids store in Bellevue Square before the game. Well, I guess technically during the game as well. The event is from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday, October 4th. There's a chance for you guys to win a Topps 1-of-1 Cal Raleigh autographed card that is hidden in that Lids store, in the Bellevue Square store. All you have to do, guys, is show up there in person, tell the people working there the code 1-of-1, and you'll be given your chance to go win that pretty valuable card. It's pretty pricey. Autographed 1-of-1 Cal Raleigh card. Again, in-store only, Saturday, October 4th, from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. And while you're in there, you can check out all the other cool things that Lids has to offer. They have retail prices on the Bowman Chrome hobby boxes, as opposed to paying the markup price on the secondary market for those. You guys get a deal on that. They have customized hats. And the most fun part, probably of all of it, Lyle, we'll be there. I think we'll plan to be there around 11 a.m., maybe a little bit after 11 a.m., and then for the hour after that. So if you guys want to come say hi to us before the game and talk about Game 1 of the ALDS with us, we will be there at the Bellevue Square Lids store. And if you see something in there that you really like, make sure to text the code BASEBALL to 29017. That's code BASEBALL to 29017, and you'll get 20% off your next purchase at the Bellevue Square Lids store this Saturday, October 4th.
Yeah, we're going to be there hanging out for an hour, you guys. So it works out really well because the Mariners now start at 5:30. So if during the morning you guys want to come try to win an insanely cool Cal Raleigh card and you just want to come hang out with us, we'll be there. We're going to be there about from 11 to 12. So if you guys come in the morning around that time, yeah, we'll just be hanging out. We're going to be talking ball. We're happy to take pictures. We're happy to do really whatever. So just come hang out with us.
We're going to be opening a pack of cards too.
Yes, we will. We're going to do a fun box break card opening. So
it'll be fun.
Very fun. And along with that, we'll just get one other plug in here too in terms of our playoff plan. So there's a couple ways you can come hang out with us. We will be at the Lids store at Bellevue Square Mall from 11 to 12 on Saturday. And we are likely going to be doing some playoff watch parties over with our friends at Queen Anne Beer Hall in Seattle. So Game 3 is going to happen. We're going to do a watch party for Game 3 over at Queen Anne Beer Hall. Tentatively, Game 4 as well. We'll get you guys more details on that as the days go on. But at the very least, if you want to plan ahead, Game 3, we're going to be doing a watch party at Queen Anne Beer Hall. Our friends over at Simply Seattle are going to be there. All the people from the hall are going to be there. It's going to be a blast. So we would love to have you guys come out and watch with us. Those playoff watch parties over at the hall locations, they have been sick over the years. And I think it's going to be more of the same in 25. So come hang out.
And if you also want to see us in action, I believe we're going to be recording our post-game show from the hall on Tuesday. So you want to see...
There's probably going to be some screaming one way or another because either they'll have lost or they'll have won and we're going to be fired up. So, yeah, if you want to see how the sausage is made, you can watch it right in person.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. So hopefully you guys go to check that out, and hopefully we have some good stuff to be talking about on that Tuesday. So that'll be good. So we will keep you guys updated. Stay tuned to our socials. We'll have all the details for you as soon as they come in. This is why this is the best time of year, because we get to do all these fun things like this. Yeah. Now to the preview of the series we might be talking about on that Tuesday, the Detroit Tigers, Lyle. Let me ask you this to start. Your impression of the Detroit Tigers is what?
Tarik Skubal.
Anything else?
Well, they have a lot of names on that team. Riley Green was an all-star. Zach McKinstry was an all-star. Obviously, we know Kerry Carpenter absolutely mashes right-handed pitching, and he's torched the Mariners in the past. So there's a lot of names on this team. But you have been very much on the train of, I want the Mariners to face the Tigers, not Cleveland. And you won our little battle here. You won our little battle that we were going back and forth about for days about, no, I want the Guardians, and no, you want the Tigers. You were adamant about playing Detroit. You get your wish. The Mariners are now going to play the team that you felt like was the easier matchup. And just off first impression, both from the series and just digging into some of the numbers, look, they're no murderer's row. They were not inspiring in that Guardian series at all. And they're a team that is on the wrong end of momentum and have been really all of the second half. So I would say those are my takeaways. Tarik Skubal's really good, but it's a team trending in the wrong direction and maybe running on fumes.
I'm just going to be direct. The Tigers are mid. What are the Tigers good at? Tell me. Besides Tarik Skubal, what are they good at?
Not a lot. If you look at them in the second half of the year, because that's who they are now. The Tigers of the first half have not shown up in a long time. And the Tigers of the second half, when you look at their team OPS, when you look at runs scored, when you look at ERA, strikeouts per 9, all of it, all the important categories on the offensive and pitching side of the ball, in the second half, they're not showing much of anything. I mean, they're 21st in runs scored in the second half as a team. By OPS, they're bottom half and more like bottom third. ERA and Ks per 9, it's more the same story. And their bullpen, to your exact point, mid. In the second half, they're right in the middle of the league in ERA. There's nothing they're really thriving at.
And it ticked down even more in September. In September, they are bottom third in everything. ERA, WRC+, runs scored, bullpen production, starting pitching production. Tarik Skubal is such an impactful name that I think it distracts everyone from the rest of this Tigers team, where if you actually look at it, just find me a strength. Are they a good base running team? Are they overly athletic? No. Do they have a deep bullpen? Not really. Their bullpen production for the year is roughly the same as the Mariners. But the difference is the Mariners have, even with Bryan Woo's injury, potentially 4 horses in their rotation that they can, on any given day, go out there and get them an A+ start. The Tigers, meanwhile, in the series against the Guardians, Tarik Skubal gives them a 100th percentile performance in Game 1 and just shreds up what I will say, truthfully, Lyle, was a AAA lineup with a Hall of Famer in the middle. Because that's what the Guardians are. A AAA lineup. So Tarik Skubal did what he should have done and tore them up. The rest of that Tigers starting rotation against a bad lineup. Casey Mize went 3 innings in Game 2. 3 innings. Jack Flaherty went 4 2/3 in Game 3. I get it, elimination game. You're quick trigger on anything that happens. Doesn't feel like to me AJ Hinch has a whole lot of trust in his other starters, given that they pull the plug that quickly in games that matter this much. That tells me. And then guess what? For Game 1 coming up, if they're going to keep Tarik Skubal on normal rest, they're going to have to either throw Reese Olson or Cater Montero in Game 1. And you know what that turns into? That turns into a bullpen game for the Tigers Game 1. Does a team with a strength throw a bullpen Game 1? No.
Not really, and the reports already seem to be that the Tigers are probably going with quote-unquote a bullpen game in Game 1. They could start Troy Melton in that game too, who's been good in a pretty short sample, but the point being, he has not worked deep into games. He is not going to work deep into a game. So yeah, they're going to have to staff that thing. Whether it's Cater Montero, whether it's Melton, whether it's Olson, they're going to have to staff it together. So, or sorry, what am I saying? Olson's on the 60-day IL. He's not pitching. So yeah, it's probably going to be Cater Montero or Troy Melton. So, or maybe both of them. The idea there is those are guys you've got to go hit. Because and if you're the Mariners, you've got to win that Game 1. At home, crazy crowd, the roof's going to be blowing off that place, and you know who's sitting in the wings for Game 2. You can't run into an issue here where you somehow lose that game 1, likely with Logan on the mound against the bullpen day, with Skubal going in game 2. You've got to go win game 1. You can't put the risk of going back to Detroit down 2-0 at hand.
I'm with you on that. Game 1 is very important. Just given the matchup, let alone who is pitching the day after. If a team's throwing a bullpen game at you and you've had 5 days off and you're starting Logan Gilbert on the mound with your lineup that laps the Cleveland lineup, that's probably twice as good as the Cleveland lineup, if not more, yeah, you should win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But to your point, this Tigers team, their identity is essentially Tarik Skubal's an absolute dog and the best pitcher on the planet, and the rest of the roster, very. Even when you look at the stars of the team, Zach McKinstry, who was an all-star this year, he's not one of the stars, but he did make an all-star game this year. OPS was under 700 in the second half. Just staying on this second half theme here. Riley Green, OPS under 700 in the second half. Their best bats outside of Kerry Carpenter, who had a solid second half, didn't really hit in the second half.
But Kerry Carpenter just platoons. So there's nothing that's going to give him as much of a slump. He only faces righties.
Well, but how many lefties do the Mariners have?
Only 2, Caleb Ferguson and Gabe Spire.
You want to throw money down on something? Throw money down that Gabe Spire is going to be facing Kerry Carpenter a lot late in games in this series. If Kerry Carpenter's coming up when the bullpen's already been deployed, you best believe Gabe Spire is going in there against Kerry Carpenter.
You have, even with Skubal throwing games, if we're mapping it out like this, games 2 and 5 in this series, first of all, the goal is to not play game 5. The goal is to win the series before you get to game 5. But even in that case, Tarik Skubal will be throwing on short rest. The Mariners have beaten Tarik Skubal twice this season. I know you say you don't want to play with fire, but at some point, Tarik Skubal might hit a wall here in terms of innings, in terms of pressure, in terms of the fact he's just facing a flatly better lineup than he would face anywhere in the American League right now, outside of the Toronto Blue Jays.
I know this is stupid math, and maybe this is ASU logic here from a dumb person, but I just can't get out of my head the fact that Skubal really got hit around twice by the Mariners. Or I guess the first time it wasn't really hit around, but they did beat him. Second time they faced them when they were in Detroit over the summer, they did hit him around. This is probably stupid logic, but how many times are you going to beat a guy like that? When does your luck run out against somebody like that? Is he not just going to figure it out and absolutely carve it up the third time? Maybe you're right that he runs out of gas, but your mind seems to be going more there with Skubal and all the wear and tear on that arm already this year. My mind more goes to, shocker, the pessimistic view, where I say, how many more times can the Mariners get to this guy?
2 things off of that. Number one, I'm just not a believer that one singular pitcher, when I look at the rest of the roster like this, can carry a team to victory. I mean, again, look at this. Against the Cleveland Guardians and that lineup, it took a 100th percentile Tarik Skubal effort to get to Game 3.
Yeah.
100th. He's not going to be any better than that.
Yeah. Tarik Skubal's made 4 career postseason starts, including that one this week. 3 of them have been utterly dominant. Last year, he went 6 shutout against the Astros, then 7 shutout against the Guardians, and then this year, 7 2/3 a 1-run ball a few days ago against the Guardians. But, to be fair, to your point, he did get hit around and lit up in one of those 4 starts last year in Cleveland. He gave up 5 and 6 innings. So it's not impossible to get to Skubal in the playoffs, but he's not exactly a guy that seems to crack under the pressure either.
If you remember that last series the Mariners played against Tarik Skubal, there were some different names in the lineup that day than there are currently that will roll out this weekend, are there not?
Trivia time for everybody listening. Yes, there was, to answer your question. But even before that, Skubal's first start of the year, back in early April in Seattle. You remember who hit a home run off him?
Was it Demo?
It was Demo.
Yeah.
It was Demo. He ain't here anymore. He was OPSing 130 against lefties for 3 months. So, yeah, he's not here anymore.
I don't think that... Was that on Friday he started against the Mariners?
It was, because we were on the plane to Atlanta while that outing was going on, and we just assumed, well, we're going to be without Wi-Fi, we're going to land in Atlanta, check our phones, and it was going to be a 7-0 Tigers win, and we were wrong. The Mariners hit Skubal.
In this game, you had Donovan Solano batting 7th, Dylan Moore batting 8th, and Ben Williamson batting 9th. Well, Julio hit a home run off of him. He was in the coldest stretch of his entire season. Yeah. I'd say the lineup looks a little different now that Tarik will be facing.
It's probably right. It does. It does look a little different.
Here's something else I think that is in the Mariners' favor that favors their offense and not against Tarik specifically. Favors the Mariners' pitching staff. The Tigers are not great against righties, and the Mariners have a lot of righties. It's going to be 95% of their innings this series, if not more, are going to be thrown by right-handers. And the Tigers' lineup against righties is 19th in WRC+, 19th in runs scored, 21st in OPS, 28th in strikeout rate. They have two hitters who you should really fear. I guess fear is a loose term, that you should worry about as lefty hitters against righty throwers. The rest of them, not doing it at all. It's Riley Green and Kerry Carpenter, but Riley Green's not been as good in the second half, and Kerry Carpenter probably is the one. Kerry Carpenter could make or break this series for the Tigers. Seriously. If he goes off against all the Mariners' righty arms, then the Mariners might have some trouble. If they can shut him down, Riley Green's like a 30% strikeout rate guy. You elevate the stuff. You exploit the holes in his swing. He's not carrying the Tigers' offense by himself. Mm-hmm. He hasn't done that.
Right. Yeah. Everybody listening is seeing what the real identity of this team is, because it's true. The whole identity of this team is Tarik Skubal. And I guess if Kerry Carpenter hits righties.
One other note for their lineup, Colt Keith might be back for this series. He has rib cage inflammation. He's been out since mid-September. He's another guy who hits righties pretty decently, but he hasn't been healthy. So we'll see if he ends up getting activated and coming back. But even in the advantage that the Tigers have, if they have their lefties up and the Mariners have righties on the mound, I still feel pretty good. I just don't see how the Tigers are going to outscore the Mariners this series, given how the Mariners line up with them pitching-wise, defense-wise, and hitting-wise.
What's our guy Torque done in the second half? He's got a 739 OPS for the second half. Hit 248.
He's been pretty consistent all year.
He's been okay. It's funny. I mean, we did nothing but root our tails off for that guy forever. In this series, go ahead and go 0 for 15 with 15 Ks, Torque. Thanks.
Yeah.
But it is funny. I'm not saying it can't still happen. He's still decently young, but man, when we watched him in college, we were like, this is the greatest hitter we've ever seen. This is insane. And I thought it was, I know, and I thought it was a shoo-in, an absolute shoo-in that when he got to the show, he was going to be a perennial all-star, hitting 280 to 300 every year, and honestly win a couple of home run titles. But it hasn't happened. Here we are, and we haven't even mentioned Torque's name until I just wanted to bring him up because we want to tie it back to ASU. He is the 4th or 5th most imposing bat in this lineup, which is not what he was drafted to be.
Yeah. Do you got anything else on the Tigers? I mean, my overall general premise is I don't think the Tigers do anything better than the Mariners. And even with Bryan Woo being out, you need good starts from your other 4 main starters in this rotation. And if you get them against the worst lineup you will see going forward, then you should be fine and you should win the series. Like, if everything happens that should happen for you to want to win the World Series, you're winning this series.
Yeah, you've convinced me a little bit in this episode. I feel a little bit better talking this through now in real time about how they shape up against the Tigers than I probably did once the Tigers won this series on Thursday afternoon. Because all I can think about once they won Thursday afternoon is, oh great, Skubal twice. You're going to have to win all 3 games that he doesn't pitch or not force it to a Game 5. I feel a little better now. I still don't like their chances going against Tarik Skubal, but the series could just go 4 games where you face them in Game 2. You could hypothetically win Games 1, 3, and 4. You could end up hitting him if you get him on the right day. And you're right that just talking this through and looking at what the Tigers have done in the second half of the year, there's not a ton there.
No. And I just don't also like just assuming they're going to lose to Tarik Skubal. Do you think the Tigers are just assuming they're going to lose to Logan Gilbert tomorrow?
No, but as good as Logan Gilbert is, he's not Tarik Skubal. Tarik
No,
Skubal
but he's pretty good last year.
Tarik Skubal is the best pitcher on the planet.
Yeah. Okay, if Bryan Woo is starting tomorrow. I think they're just assuming they're going to lose.
Probably not. It's just such a different animal with Skubal, man. You saw what he did in that Guardian series. You've watched him over the last 3 years. This is 101 with paint and the changeup, like everything.
The top line starters have been unbelievable this postseason so far. Crochet was really good. Gavin Williams was really good. Yamamoto was really good. Snell pitched the longest postseason start of his career for the Dodgers. The only one who stunk was Hunter Green, but I think he was tipping his pitches. So, like, all the top level guys throwing gas have been, yeah, you're right, have been great. But not everyone can win.
Maybe we should have started with this too. In the Tigers' deciding game over the Guardians in a winner-go-home Game 3, they did have Wenzel Perez hitting third.
Ooh.
Maybe we should have started with that. I don't know how, but they did.
I like the Mariners' chances this series. If I'm going to guess, the Mariners win this series in 4 games.
Do they win the Skubal start, yes or no?
Fuck it. Yeah, they do.
Wow. They lose a different game. So they win the first 2, let's say, in your mind. Lose Game 3 in Detroit, but then win Game 4.
Let me throw this hypothetical out at you. Tarik Skubal throws 7 shutout against the Mariners in Game 2. George Kirby counters and also throws 7 shutout. 2 innings left. Who has the advantage?
We said that would be Luis, but we can use Luis for this example.
Okay, fine. Luis throws 7 shutout. Who's got the advantage then?
Yeah, you're right. Because then the Mariners would turn to Spire, Brash, Munoz. Well, it depends who's up in the lineup. They'd save Gabe for the lefties, for Green and Carpenter. But some level, those 3 guys, maybe you throw Bizzardo into that too. And then with the Tigers, you get Will Vest and Brant Herter and Tyler Holton. It's not exactly the same.
I feel pretty good about that. So it comes down to your guys just doing what they should. Like, starters be dogs, like they had to be anyway.
I know. It is amazing talking this through, that it's not even so much the Tigers living rent-free in my head, it's Tarik Skubal living rent-free in my head. So when you say their identity is Tarik Skubal, which is what you said pre-recording, and I think we've already said it, it is very true. That is their identity.
If you want to all but guarantee a series win, all you need to do is beat Tarik Skubal once, I think.
Yeah, if you were to win Game 1 and then actually sneak out a win against them in Game 2, I mean, 1, you'd be up 2-0, but 2, you just beat Skubal. How are the Guardians going to come back from that? They would be depleted. By the way, they're already kind of depleted. Does it not feel like this team's, even Skubal aside, running on fumes?
Yes.
I mean, we talked about they won 2 of 3 in the wild card series. They won a series. But this is still a team that absolutely pummeled back to earth and collapsed in the second half, blowing a 15.5 game lead and a 10 game lead in September.
Dude, they got swept by in September, they got swept by the Braves and lost series to the White Sox, Mets, and Marlins.
Yeah.
Tarik Skubal pitched some of those games, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yep, he did.
So
it's going to be interesting. All right. You have anything else on Tigers?
No, I don't think I got anything else. Mariners in 4.
All right. I'll go Mariners in 4, too. I'll say they lose the Skubal start, but Mariners in 4. I do have one more very important... Oh, wait, hold up. Paul Sewald's on the Tigers. We didn't even say that.
Oh, yeah. Is he going to throw? Did he throw?
I don't know. I mean, he hasn't been very good.
No, he has not been very good.
Yeah. Let me do a quick read here, and I have one very, very important thing to do before we wrap up. It's actually very important, so just give us a second. Let's talk to you guys about our friends over at Pagacci's Pub 85. You guys know it's an awesome spot to go hang out if you need a spot to watch the games, if you need a spot to watch the NFL, college football, really any sports-related activities. It's all there because there's 20 TVs in that place. There's also great food and awesome happy hour specials, and those deals are 2 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Drinks are $3 and $4, you guys. Those are awesome deals. $3 and $4 happy hour drinks Monday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. Go catch all that over at Pagacci's Pub 85 in Kirkland. I have one very important thing to do before we conclude this podcast. And I need everybody to listen up. I need everybody to channel it. I need everybody to buy in. I know people have already. We haven't done it all week on the podcast, and we're probably much delayed to doing so. But we got to start doing it a lot. We ready? Mr. Rager! Woo! Come on! Let's do it! Why are you looking at me so blank?
It just doesn't sound as good when we sing it on the podcast.
Well, we can't sing. Of course it doesn't sing as good as it sound as good as Kid Cudi. What are you talking about?
But we're going to sing it at the ballpark.
Good. I hope it's blasting for 50,000 people to listen to. Sorry if I pierced anybody's ears. My bad.
I think you did. This is going to have the highest click-off rate at this moment of any part in the podcast.
Well, it better not, because people got to get dialed into this thing. Fine. I will just say the words. Mr. Rager, hey, Mr. Rager, tell me where you're going. Tell me where you're headed. Now I didn't pierce people's ears.
That is the playoff anthem. You have, once this comes out, you have about 24 hours to study up. 20, maybe 36 hours. Study up before the game on Saturday if you're going.
Yeah, and all you really need to know is the chorus. You don't have to memorize the entire song. Just get the chorus.
So the plan is for Lyle and I, we will be at game 1. If you want to come find us, we'll be in the stands just like all of you. Not down on the field. We'll be in the stands. Screaming, hanging out. If you see us, I believe we'll be vlogging, so you can get in the vlog and just collectively scream about Mariners baseball, postseason Mariners baseball. Hopefully, we have voices left. I guess we'll see. I'm not feeling too confident that we're going to have voices on Saturday. So
we'll see.
We'll see. And a reminder to you guys: the schedule for recording now that the playoffs are about to start. Instead of normal Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we will be doing an episode after every single game, at least throughout the division series and the championship series. So that's how it will be structured. For example, there's no game on Monday, so there will not be that normal Monday podcast. Instead, you will have a post-game show from Sunday to listen to instead.
Yeah. Post-game after every game. And we're going to try and turn them around as fast as we can. Again, we will be at the game Saturday. So give us a little time to get home out of all that crazy traffic and sit down and set up to record. But we are going to get these things out as fast as we can for all you guys and turn them around as quickly as we can so we can give our instant reactions and immediate takeaways to the game. So we're going to be doing that all postseason. Hopefully you guys are dialed in for it. We know we will be.
This is going to be a busy week in Soto. Sounders, Seahawks, and 2 playoff games.
Crazy. This is what every Seattle sports fan asked for, though. They want their teams to be fun. I know this is a Mariners podcast, but Seahawks are 3-1, and they're playing a good Bucs team this weekend. So there's that, and more.
The healthy Bucs team is good.
Oh yeah, actually, the Bucs. What am I saying? The Bucs are insanely banged up right now, like insanely banged up. Anyway, much more importantly. 2 Mariners playoff games. You know how many you were guaranteed last time? 3 years ago? 1. And by the way, let's all remember, in the last 25 years, the Mariners have still not scored a run at home in a postseason game. For as crazy as those 18 innings were 3 years ago, and we were there for all of it, before this podcast ever started, we didn't get to explode to 1 run being scored. That crowd that was so amazing last time, 1 was already down 2-0, so there was a little bit of air taken out of that balloon, and you didn't get to see a single run. This crowd this weekend is going to be sold out, obviously, insanely electric, loud as hell, favored in the series, unlike last time, and it's going to be at 0-0, not 2-0. And when they score a run for the first time, God, that place is going to explode. If somebody hits a homer, if Cal hits a homer, it's going to be just absolute
mayhem.
Just mayhem in that place, and I cannot wait.
It's going to be a fun weekend, dog.
It is. Stressful as all hell, but in the best of ways, fun. So this is what we all asked for, right? This is what we all wanted. So let's do it. Bryan Woo, get healthy as fast as humanly possible. That'd be awesome. So, all right. I think that just about wraps up this edition of the Marine Layer Podcast. You guys know the drill. You want to listen to the full form podcast, you can do so wherever you get your audio pods. Make sure to like, comment, and please subscribe on YouTube. Just take a second to hit that subscribe button. It really is the best way you can support the channel. If you're listening, go leave a 5-star review and make sure you're downloading these episodes. If you're, well, you can get on a website, which all of you can. I know you can. Go over to our website, marinelayerpod.com. You can go get your merch, sign up for our Patreon, check out our live show schedule. It's all there. And then you can find us across social media at Marine Layer Pod. And go listen to Mr. Rager. Go learn those lyrics and memorize them. It's time. All right, that's TJ. I'm Lyle. As always, we thank you guys for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon.